This is WBAA. I'm Mike Loizzo. What do you do when you have $1 million idea, but far less cash on hand for startup costs? More people are turning to what's known as crowdfunding. Here to talk about it is an entrepreneur who is benefiting from crowdfunding, Sean Connell. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And as far as I know it, this is basically sort of passing the hat on the internet. Is that a fair assessment?
Pretty much. So some of the projects, it's actually pre-orders. So you put the product out there and you basically take some pre-orders in order to get the funding required to actually go through and mass produce it.
So it's not so much I've got this idea, it's I've got a product.
Right. Typically the products, the campaigns that do better are the ones that actually have a functional product to sell because people are a little more encouraged to back that kind of a project.
So what are some of the avenues? I know you're using Kickstarter, right?
Mm-hmm. Crowdfunding is definitely growing in popularity. There's a lot of crowdfunding websites out there. Kickstarter is probably the most well-known of them, but there are several other websites that offer slightly different benefits to them.
What is the screening process? Because I'm guessing there are some people who might want to use this in not so positive ways. What's the setup to get onto Kickstarter?
Kickstarter has a lot of guidelines as to what's appropriate in terms of the product you're offering. For example, they don't allow knives or weapons or things of that nature. But in terms of actually screening the project creator, it's really independent, where the backers decide if the creator is legitimate and capable of producing the product. But Kickstarter itself does not actually screen individual products.
Talk about your product, and we can talk about it because your funding goal has been met.
Sure.
What's the timeline? What do you have to put in? What do you ask for?
I started the project about 6 months ago. So the product is Atom, a tool of multi-purpose. Basically, it's a key-shaped multi-tool that you can carry around in your pocket that offers several convenient tools. In terms of what I needed to raise, I set the initial goal at $40,000, and that was to raise enough money to actually start mass producing the product. I had some prototypes made, but I needed a substantial amount of money to actually go through and to make the tooling and molding required to mass produce the product. And it did quite well. So in the first week, I raised about 40% of my funding goal. And then a couple weeks into it, I passed the $40,000. And right now, I just broke $70,000 in funds.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is an all or nothing, right? If you don't hit your goal, you don't get any of what has been pledged.
Correct. Even if you fall $1 short, you don't get any money at all. So you got to meet your goal.
So what are some of the other challenges?
I think one of the major challenges was marketing. I had the naive assumption that I'd put it on Kickstarter and the direct traffic to the website would drive sales. But in reality, I had to do a significant amount of marketing outside of Kickstarter to drive the sales.
Because you do have quite a bit of information, quite a few pictures, if I remember right, for yours.
Right.
But you have to let people know it's there,
let people know, absolutely. And then the video, so every Kickstarter campaign has a video attached to it, which is kind of like your 2 or 3 minute commercial. And that played a significant role in getting people interested in the product and driving the page.
What would you do without this? What are some of the other options out there, the more traditional, I guess?
More traditional options would be to go to large retail organizations or companies that are established in that marketplace. For example, if you wanted to get the product produced, you could potentially go talk to Leatherman or some of the other multi-tool manufacturers out there, and then find distributors like sporting goods stores such as REI to get them to carry it in the stores, which is a substantial amount of work. And it's difficult to get them interested in the product because you don't have any sales record to demonstrate that people actually want the product. So what's nice about Kickstarter is not only do you get the funds, but you also get to show people that there's a significant amount of interest around the product and people actually want it.
And I guess now you can also go on that TV show, Shark Tank. Is that
Sure. That's next on the list. Yeah.
So in the end run, do you foresee selling this to a company? Is this something you want to keep? What are the future plans?
I'd like to actually start distributing it online through Amazon, or if there's any potential to distribute it through the traditional sporting goods stores. I'm certainly willing to pass it along to other larger companies that have the resources to mass produce it and distribute it on a larger scale, like Leatherman, for example.
So again, Sean's using Kickstarter.com, but there are others out there. And if you want to check out his tool, again, it's Atom, A-T-O-M, a tool of multi-purpose. And I think there's a search function on that.
Yes.
Sean Connell, thanks so much and good luck. You've made your goal.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're listening to WBAA. I'm Mike Loizzo.